The law of the land. It's oftentimes not just any courtroom that determines what guides the law across the United States. But most Americans have no clue how the Supreme Court actually works. Let's dive in. There's currently 9 Supreme Court justices who make their rulings. This allows for a majority opinion, so if the vote is 5-4, as it often is, the ruling becomes law. A case doesn't automatically go to the Supreme Court. It starts in the lower court. If someone's not happy with the decision there, they can appeal or ask a higher court to take a look. The highest of courts is, as the name implies, the Supreme Court. Any unhappy party can file a petition, but the Supreme Court gets to pick and choose which cases they take. The justices have conferences to decide whether to take a case, one on Wednesday and one on Friday. And in opening each conference, all the justices shake hands as a sign of respect. Once a case is in the hands of the Supreme Court, both sides write briefs, which are essays explaining their argument. Then, the 2 sides argue in front of the 9 justices. Typically, each case gets an hour to argue in front of the justices, so each side of the argument only gets 30 minutes. The justices can ask questions of the lawyers representing each side, and these questions are oftentimes closely listened to in order to take hints at which way the court is leaning. After the arguments, the Supreme Court justices meet in secret to discuss the case and vote. 5 or more justices agreeing, and that side has won. But then the opinion and the minority opinion have to be written. These explain why the case was decided in this way. The minority opinion explains why the losing side of the argument disagrees. Most decisions are announced as the court's term concludes at the beginning of the summer. But bigger or more time-sensitive cases can be decided and announced sooner. These judgments have serious consequences on citizens' lives in the United States, sometimes life or death. They've decided elections, decided who can marry whom, and the choices women can make with their bodies. It's why people are oftentimes very upset with the Supreme Court, and why any time there's an opening for a new justice, the process is watched very closely. An opening for a new justice only happens when one justice either retires or dies, since Supreme Court justices are appointed for life by the president. The justices' views generally align fairly closely with whatever the appointing president thinks. The court, while trying to be non-political, is oftentimes seen through the lens of politics, and that tug-of-war is evident in how some cases are decided. As we become a more divided nation politically, the balance of the Supreme Court will grow more important than ever.